Hi everyone, thank you very much for joining our session today. Before we start, who in this room is already using Defender for Cloud? All right, great, that's amazing. And who is here for the first time to learn more about Defender for Cloud? That's good, that's a great audience. Thank you very much for joining us today. We are going to talk about Boost multi-cloud security with comprehensive scopes to cloud strategy. My name is Yuri Diogenes, I'm a Principal PM Manager for the Customer Experience Engineering team. Our team is responsible for onboard Defender for Cloud and also work with engineers, developers to improve our product based on customers' feedback. And I have a great honor to have with me here my friend, Safina.
Hi everyone, so happy to see you all. My name is Safina. I'm a Principal Product Manager working in Cloud Security team. Let's kick off.
All right, let's go. Before we go to action, because I know that this audience is really looking for a lot of demos, we need to set the stage. And one of the things that has been happening over the last few years is the growth of the attack surface. We saw through the pandemic a acceleration in digital transformation, which really led companies to push cloud migrations. They had to enable their employees to work remotely, and many customers, they said, well, COVID was my digital transformation reason, basically. So they moved to the cloud really fast. What we notice is that many times security is not taken into consideration when doing those migrations. So it opened the doors for threat actors to understand that there are a lot of misconfigurations and flaws in secure hygiene. So this scenario makes us believe that cloud security is more important than ever. And that's a reality. As I said, companies are migrating to the cloud, but one thing that is changing a little bit is that they are migrating to this multi-cloud approach. So companies, they have workloads in Azure, they have workloads in AWS and GCP, and they need to have this management pane of glass throughout all the cloud provided in one single place. So it's a challenge for them, not only in multi-cloud space, but hybrid. Large organizations, they still have a lot of on-premise resources, and they need to manage those on-premise resources from the same place. Otherwise, what we see is the extension of the attack surface without this visibility. With that, it creates also the complexity when it comes to software development and deployment. It's really hard for bridge this gap that exists between developers and cloud administrators. They don't use the right tools, they don't have visibility, and we've been investing a lot on this. As a matter of fact, 1 year ago at Ignite, we released Defender for DevOps, and we have great news about this today. But we've been working on that. We've been empowering developers to know more about how to secure their code. But customers, they need much more than that, because those workloads that are distributed across different cloud providers, they also need to have another lens on top of the secure hygiene, which is the regulatory compliance lens, because some workloads might need to be PCI compliant, HIPAA compliant. It depends on the type of business, but you need to have also this visibility. So it adds another layer of complexity. Customers are using multiple tools just to achieve one single goal. And last but not least, the growth of identity baked into the automations, managed identity scripts, functions, which are inherent from cloud computing. Is one of the premise of cloud computing is the wrapped elasticity, is really allow customers to provision things fast. But if you do things fast without taking into consideration identity security, then you're going to have a problem. And identity security needs to be combined with cloud security. It needs to be part of the same strategy. The days of working silos are over. We need to combine all those things. And that's why Gartner started to invest more in something called the CNAPP, the Cloud Native Application Protection Platform. So the vision from Gartner was, okay, nowadays we have a lot of silos. We have cloud secure posture management, cloud workload protection. We have all those things that are great, but they don't talk to each other. And that's a problem. The lack of integration between those platforms led Gartner to create this new platform called CNAPP. And the whole point of CNAPP is you have here on the diagram all the artifacts that will be scanned, the code, compute, identity, data, storage, everything is scanned and sent to this engine in the middle of this diagram. Now this engine, the advantage of CNAPP is that it brings together all those platforms, DevSecOps, Cloud Security Posture, Workload Protection, Network Security, CAN, all those things needs to be connected and exchange information in this infinite life cycle between the development life cycle and runtime protection. So this is the power of CNAPP, is bringing all this together in this continuous improvement mode. And you may ask, what is this for me now? Well, the output of the CNAPP is the intelligence that it brings to you. It will allow you to have insights across the workloads, creating a more risk factor approach when it comes to posture management and end-to-end security solution. So that's the idea. With the CNAPP output, I'll be able to make smart decisions. And when we talk about CNAPP in the context of Microsoft, we are talking about this quadrant. So I'm going to start on the Cloud Security Posture Management. You all know that we have 2 tiers. If you work with Defender for Cloud, you know that we have the foundational CSPM, which brings you the assessment, the secure score, and everything for free. And then we have Defender CSPM, which is a new plan that we released at Microsoft Secure early this year in March. That brings the vision of the CNAPP with the attack path analysis, Cloud Security Explorer, and the agentless capabilities and everything in one single place. So we are covered on that. We are also covered when it comes to DevSecOps security. And as I mentioned before, we released Defender for DevOps 1 year ago. And today, ready for the first announcement. Today we are bringing this to Defender CSPM. What I mean by that, if you are a Defender CSPM customer, and you have on board your subscription Defender CSPM, now you get DevSecOps premium security capabilities as part of Defender CSPM without additional cost. Exactly. So this is our bet in empower customers to have in a single place with one single plan, DevSecOps capabilities baked into Defender CSPM. So think about that as a great deal, and it will just make life easier because you have everything in one single place. Then we have a lot of integration of cloud, infrastructure, and title management. Safina is going to talk a little bit more about that. We have also our plans, Cloud Workload Protection. If you work with Defender for Cloud, you probably know that one of the most important things we need is understand if there are threat actors trying to do something malicious on your environment. So we need to react fast. To react fast, we need to have threat detections that were tailored to a specific workload. It doesn't really matter if you have threat detection for VM, but you're trying to protect a storage account. The threat landscape is not the same. So we invest with our research team to create analytics that work tailored specific for that scenario. So our workload protection platform is something that we continue to evolve. Now, the foundation of that is the integration across the Microsoft Security ecosystem. We have integration, native integration with Purview, with our Defender ESM, with Network Security and Sentinel. So CNAPP is about having all those capabilities available for you from one single dashboard, which is Defender for Cloud. Now let's go to some other announcements, and I'm going to invite my great friend Safina to talk about the first 3 announcements. The first one being one that I know that is very dear to her, which is the CAN integration. Take it on.
Amazing. Thanks for the overview, Yuri. Okay, so let's get to the next exciting part of the session, which is innovations. It gives me so much pride to be standing here and talking to you about all of this because my team has put a lot of hard work and it goes behind that, all of these features. The first one being Microsoft Entra Permissions Management integration with Microsoft Defender for Cloud. Speaking to our customers, we realized that security admins struggle to understand what identities they have in their environment and what are the permissions assigned to those identities. I was just speaking to one of the other customers in the booth yesterday, and they said that they are running a PowerShell script to understand what are the permissions they have in their identities. So if you think about it, it's very critical that you understand what are the permissions assigned to those identities. For example, if you have an identity that has over-permissive identity, then you're actually opening up door to the attackers. So it's really critical that you understand that part. So this integration with Microsoft Defender for Cloud helps you with just that. We are able to provide you all the identities that you have in your environment and the permissions assigned to those identities, and if the permissions have been used or not used and things like those. Not just that, if you have identities, for example, that are of not used, that's another recommendation that you will be getting along with this integration. And this integration is part of Defender CSPM offering. As long as you have Defender CSPM enabled, it comes as an extension. You have to enable the extension and you can take benefit of this one. And you do not require Enterprise Permissions Management license for this one to get the benefit out of the recommendations and to understand the permissions that you have assigned to your identities. But in case if you want to do deep remediation, or if you want to understand who actually assigned those permissions, or if you want to auto-remediate and things like those, you require an EPM license. But for now, feel free to use this and let us know how you like it. So that's our first innovation to start with. Now let's get to the next one, gain DevOps security insights. So DevOps security insights, we used to call this as Azure Defender for DevOps, which we released it in last Ignite, where you could onboard your GitHub connector or Azure DevOps connector in order to monitor the repositories that you have for vulnerabilities, for known CVEs, or for secrets that's been enabled within the code. Now, I'm happy to announce that we are releasing a private preview GitLab Ultimate support as well. So you can have GitLab Ultimate connector onboarded and you can monitor your repositories. All in this, as long as you have Defender CSPM enabled, you can also benefit with this feature. Okay, so that's about DevOps security insights. Now, let's get to the next one. Improve security, improve container security across multi-cloud environments. We are excited to share that security admins will soon be able to get ahead of containerized application risk in the Kubernetes deployments with the support of Amazon AKS as well as Google GKE workloads. I'm saying security admins will soon be, because this is in private preview today. If you are a private preview customer and if you are in our community, make sure you use this. If you are not, make sure you join. We have all the information present in the notes for you to join the private preview community. And this feature will be released in public preview in December. So I'm going to give it back to Yuri to talk about the next 3 exciting features.
All right, who is already working with the attack path analysis here? Okay, so there is great news for you. We are enhancing the attack path analysis because it's already great. We are making even better because now we are able to dynamically identify potential attack paths. In the past, our security researchers were creating those patterns of behaviors to understand the end-to-end potential attack path. Now we are dynamically looking at the environment of each customer and creating the attack path. But not only that, we are doing this cross-cloud, which means that if a threat actor starts the attack in Azure, for example, let's say that they compromise a VM, and then jump to AWS resource, we are able to get this lateral movement cross-cloud. We didn't have this. It's amazing. We are able to see that now across AWS, GCP, and Azure. So we are taking the attack path to the next level. The other thing we're doing is we are releasing the GA of Defender for APIs. Now, this is a huge announcement because we invest a lot on this, not only from the security hygiene perspective to improve the overall security posture of APIs, but also threat detection. And we have more information during the demo, but this is going GA now. And last but not least, are you ready for this? I know that this is something that you were waiting for. The integration of Security Copilot with Defender for Cloud. Applause. This is awesome. This is something that it will take Defender for Cloud to the next level, integration with AI. It will allow you to do smart decisions with the help of Copilot. I have one slide for that, so I'm not going to take too much time here, but this is absolutely fantastic. And I know that a lot of you here are looking for demos, and we're going to have 2 scenarios. one scenario for this company called Fabricant that you probably know. This company is very well known at Microsoft, but it's based on real-world scenarios. Our team work with customers, so we understand what they really think about. And one of the things that they complain, the challenge is called remediation fatigue. Who here had tried to get 100% on secure score? Anyone was able to get 100% on secure score here? Yeah, what? Oh, there is one there. Oh, that's Thomas, doesn't really help. But anyway, it's hard. It's hard because so many recommendations. And a lot of customers come to me and say, Yuri, I have 100 high severity recommendations. Which one should I do first? Okay, I understand that, we understand that, and we are improving and giving something that will help you today at Ignite. Lack of visibility across cloud, this is another challenge. So with challenge, they also have goals. How can we take our company to the next level by improving our security posture across all clouds? How can we have better visibility and prioritization of recommendations? And how can I do proactive remediation? I'm tired of being reactive. I want to be proactive. I want to get to a point where I'm one step ahead of the threat actor. All right, so we have some goals in mind, and we have some things to achieve. We need to identify and prioritize all the recommendations. We need to synthesize contextual insights and identify potential attacks. And that's big. We need to have a place where we can go to see everything related to data security posture. Because sometimes the information is scattered across many places. It makes it hard for you to investigate. But if you have one single place, it will make it much easier, and we have that. So let me switch to the demo, the first demo of the day. And let me go to this environment that you know very well. So the first goal of Fabricant is really recommendation fatigue. And when we talk about recommendation fatigue, we always land on this dashboard, right? All right, so today we are releasing this new visualization, okay, which is the recommendation by risk. This really takes things to a different level because now we are using what we call risk factor to give you more information about what is important. First of all, it is a multi-cloud capability, so it's available across the clouds that we support. And as you can see, there is this critical thing here. So it's not only high, medium, and low, we have critical things that you need to address. And the good thing about this is that we are doing this based on what we call risk factors. So what this really means, let me go to one of those and let me zoom in to the rationale behind the risk factors. So when we say risk factors, we are taking into consideration vulnerabilities, we are taking exposure, lateral movement, sensitivity data. All those things are taken into consideration for us to rank something extremely important. But not only that, this is the key for everything, attack path. Now, what this really means is, if you remediate this recommendation, you are breaking the chain of 12 attack paths. So there is, at this point, in this environment, there are 12 attack paths that will enable the attacker to move laterally to exploit a different resource. By going to the graph here, I'll be able to see all those attack paths, and which means that once I remediate the recommendation for this machine, I'm breaking the chain, which means the threat actor won't be able to move from the external resource to inside of the network and do some collateral damage, right? So this is huge. We are providing you what is really important to do right now. So we are reducing the noise and saying, these are the things that you have to be concerned about right now. So that's the new recommendation dashboard that give you risk factors. So this is one great thing that we are bringing. The other one was about multi-cloud resources. And when it comes to multi-cloud resources, it's really difficult to have the clear visualization of what's going on in the environment. So the attack path cross-cloud capability allows you to do that. So let me create a filter here for the risk level, say high and critical. And I'm going to add a filter for the target because I'm looking at potential attacks on my AWS RDS-DB instance. Now look at this. This is very cool. Our team, our research team did such a cool job here because you look at this, you have the resource that is in Azure, right? And that's the beginning of the attack, and the threat actor is going to be able to jump to an AWS resource. This is amazing. This is truly amazing. So let me open up this resource here and look to the attack path. So the threat actor, in this case, will be able to come from Azure. And the cool thing about the attack path, if you notice, is that we have those icons here. And it's just not to make the attack path beautiful, but also to tell you that we have active alerts. We have insights with this bulb. And we have contextual information about the resource. You remember the Synapse vision with the engine in the middle and all the insights? That's it. That's the Synapse in action right there. So in this case, the threat actor exploits a VM. It will be able to move. This VM has a SSH private key that can authenticate to AWS EC2 instance that contains AWS RDS connection string that can authenticate to the database. So the entire attack path is there. Once I remediate something early on this machine, I break the entire chain. So this is super powerful. Your goal is to have zero attack path. If you want to really know what's your goal is to have zero attack path, which means that you are prioritizing what is important in your environment. So that's super cool. Now, the last goal for Fabricant was to have a centralized data visualization place, and that's where we have our data security dashboard that we are releasing at Ignite. This dashboard brings you everything together, not only from the security posture perspective, but also from the threat detection. So it starts by giving you this idea of, okay, what is the coverage? And what I mean by coverage is, to have this dashboard, you need Defender CSPM. And some of the insights also come from our workload protection platforms, such as Defender for storage, Defender for SQL. So those plans will allow you to have some other insights. So we have the coverage information here. We have the resources available, storage, managed database, host database. And the cool thing about this dashboard is that it highlights you the top issues. So if you look at the top issues, you can focus what is important. And notice side by side we have information about alerts. Remember, alerts belongs to workload protection. So this is more reactive. Someone is trying to do something. And we have a more proactive with the attack path, which is part of our Defender CSPM. We are combining, bring it together so you have this single visualization. Now, you can go deeper. You can actually look at your sensitive data discovery, okay, by click on this hyperlink and open the Cloud Security Explorer and run the query. Now, the Cloud Security Explorer is a part of the Defender CSPM, so the dashboard basically create a query for you to run, but you can customize. And one thing that is important that we are releasing also is information about data sensitivity in APIs. A lot of people think that data security is about storage and database because that's where information is. But data can also be in transit. What if there are API calls with sensitive information? How do you know that? Well, now you can, because now with Defender for APIs, we allow you to do that. So we can create a query here for APIs endpoint, and we can add a condition for data contain sensitive data and run. Boom, just like that. You have information about APIs. When we show this to customers, they're like, I had no idea that there were sensitive data on my APIs. Well, you saw in less than 10 seconds now you can have this information. So this is super powerful. And I hope you realize that. There are much more. I'm going to let Safina continue the presentation now to talk about the other cool things that we have.
Amazing. Okay, switch back to the presentation, please. Cool. So I brought you another scenario here of Contoso organization, and I'm sure you're familiar with that as well. So to start with, a developer is trying to gain awareness of the security flaws that he has in the code. And the challenges that he has is they're using several tools and they don't know how to kind of make sure that they are maintaining the security posture for those tools. And also they are going through several platforms, GitHub, ADO, and all of the developer platforms. The goal of the developer is to make sure that they are following security best practices and they are eliminating the security flaws. So remember this scenario, and I'll let you know how Defender for Cloud can help you with that. Now let's look at another scenario where our security admin, our friend, comes into picture, where he's actually worried about the security posture of dev security as well as API security posture. The goal of him is to make sure that he's taking care of the recommendations that's being flagged, and he's not getting into the recommendations fatigue scenario, as well as he needs to have visibility into what my developer is working on, what code they are pushing, and if the codes that they are pushing, it has vulnerabilities or not. How do I make sure that I have visibility to it? That's one of the challenges that we always had from the security admin's perspective. So I'm going to talk to you about how Defender for Cloud can help you in that scenario as well. Now, the last scenario that I want to present to you is our incident responder. They are actually worried about all the incidents that comes in. They want to be making sure that they are not falling into a scenario where attackers are actually taking care of the nitty-gritty details that they have left off, and taking that into account to make sure that they have good context into the information that's been provided by the alerts, and they are able to detect if they are into a compromised situation. Now let's get to the demo to show you how Defender for Cloud helps in all of these scenarios. Okay, I'm on the Defender for Cloud dashboard, and this is a DevOps security dashboard that's dedicated to DevOps security specifically. I'm going to show you a specific ADO that I pushed for this demo. Yeah. So the security graph demo is one of the repositories that I pushed recently with some code, and I see that Defender for Cloud has been able to flag some unhealthy recommendations. So let's see what it is. It's telling me that the Azure DevOps repository has some secrets that's been found in my code repository, and that needs to be remediated if you want to prevent the security breach. And we also give you good remediation steps to see how you want to remediate it. Now, if I click on the findings, I'll be able to see more description and the general information, and also additional information. Now, as a security admin, I have complete visibility to what my developers are doing with the help of this view. Right? So as a security admin, I could click on the URL, and which will actually take me to the Azure DevOps page. And if I have access to the Azure DevOps page, I could as well log in and see how the code is being pushed. And Advanced Security Blade actually gives me more information on the remediation steps, but I could click on the repos and actually see the code, and I could see the pull request that my security admin, my developer has been able to create, and what are the errors that Defender for Cloud has been able to surface. Now, if you think about the first scenario that I presented in the slide, as a developer, I do not need to log into the Defender for Cloud dashboard to identify what are the errors that I have been found in the code. I could as well sit in the tool that I like and I use, and I will be able to see all of these details that's been flagged through Microsoft Defender for Cloud, and right here into my pull requests. And if I try to execute the pipeline, you should be able to see if there is any vulnerabilities that's been found. It should be able to see all of that information right here in the dashboard. And this goes same with GitHub repositories as well as GitLab Ultimate. I just showed you an example of ADO. And with the interest of time, I'm going to show you one other cool thing, which is Cloud Security Explorer. Like Yuri mentioned, this is a part of Defender for CSPM feature. And so as long as you have Defender CSPM, you could use this. And this is Azure DevOps is integrated with with Cloud Security Explorer. Now, as a security admin, I have the capability to actually query what are the repositories that the developer has pushed. And I could add more conditions to it, like for example, if I want to see the recommendations that's been flagged, or if I want to basically see if there is any public access repositories that's been pushed by the developer, I should be able to get all of that information right here. Now, let's switch the scenario to API security. So if you remember, security admin was also worried, and he wants to understand if my API security security posture is working well. So as a security admin, I could click on the workload protections, and I could go to the dedicated dashboard that we have for API security, which will take me to this particular blade. This will actually give me more information on the number of APIs that I have onboarded in my environment, and it gives me all of the good information, how many times it's been authenticated, along with the sensitive data that's been present in that particular API endpoint. Now let's take an example of banking API. So this banking API has these many endpoints, and if you look at it, we are able to show you what are the sensitive information types that you have, which makes it more critical for you to resolve these recommendations. And you should be able to see this information in the attack path as well as Cloud Security Graph Explorer as well. So one other item that I want to show you is, and which is important for the security admins, is Cloud Security Explorer is also integrated with APIs. So I could query the APIs to see how many API collections I have and the API endpoints and all of those details. Or I could as well use built-in templates that we have. Like if I scroll down, we do have number of built-in templates based on the use case scenarios that we receive from the customers. I'll just load one of the template. This template is specifically an API communicating over an encrypted protocol. So when I double click on it, it actually loads the query, and if you look at it, it's pretty complicated query. It's looking at API management services that contains API collections and API endpoints, which is exposed to internet, and it also has flagged some recommendations. So I have the capability to search, and which will actually give me the results if I have anything in my environment. It's so simple to be proactive as a security admin to understand what's going on in my environment. One last piece of information, if you remember the scenario that I presented, is as an incident responder, I need to make sure my alerts are being taken care of. So as Defender for Cloud presents you with security alerts, and I'll just query with the API here to show you one of the very cool security alert. So this one specifically is flagging and telling me that there is a suspicious spike in the API traffic from the single endpoint. And if you look at it, we give you all the information about sensitive information types, and we give you the historical behavior. So historical behavior was supposed to be this, but there is a deviation from the historical behavior that we have found, and which is why we have flagged this alert for you. So you have the capability to dig down and see more potential causes of why this alert has been flagged, and click on take action to actually know how to mitigate this threat. Either use automated response or suppress if you think that this alert is alert fatigue or a false alert, and so on and so forth. So if you then put everything all together in the scenario and think about the slide that I presented as Contoso organization, I could just stay in the Microsoft Defender for Cloud in order to view the developer view as well as the security posture view. And I'm going to give it over to Yuri to cover the next.
Awesome. Thank you, Safina. That was great. Let's go back to the slides real quick, because we have some key takeaways from this whole thing. When you are thinking about a Synapse strategy, why Defender for Cloud is the best option available? Well, first, because it's not looking only from the multi-cloud space. It also looks for on-premise. We cannot ignore the fact that there are hundreds of organizations that they still have on-premise resource, and they still need to manage those resources from a single place. So we need to understand that, and we need to empower customers to preserve that investment on-prem, and we need to monitor those. The other thing that is important is CSPM, we are done with just a baseline. Baseline is cool, it helps, but we need a more contextual approach to CSPM. We need to take to the next level and give things that are important to you. That's why we are bringing the risk factor recommendation, because it's not only about baseline. It's about being intelligent and give you the context of everything so you can prioritize what is important for you. Also, we need to ensure that you understand that we have this native integration with Kin, and now DevOps is part of Defender CSPM. So we are bringing all those things together into the dashboard that you know and that you've been working for a long time. And talking about this, just out of curiosity, how many of you are working with Defender for Cloud for more than 2 years? 3 years? 4 years? Wow, that's amazing, you two guys, awesome. So Defender for Cloud has evolved a lot, and it was before called Azure Security Center, but now is our Synapse platform that brings everything together. The other thing is CWP, Cloud Workload Protection. That is one of the main things that customer comes to us and say, this is great. We need the threat detection that you have, because we need to send this to our SOC team and empower them with those alerts. So if you have a SIEM solution such as Microsoft Sentinel or even another solution, you can still ingest all those alerts to your SIEM and empower the SOC team to react. Remember, there are two different lenses, right? The proactive things to do, which is close the door, secure hygiene, do your best to prevent an attack. But using the assume breach mindset, we know that at some point we may get compromised. So we need to react fast, and that's where Cloud Workload Protection comes into place with the tailored threat detections. Proactive hunting. Not many organizations are there yet. This is about level of maturity in this migration to the cloud. A lot of organizations still trying to catch up, so they don't have a level of maturity, which is doing proactive hunting of posture management. How can I go ahead now that I have zero attack path, my security score is great and everything, how can I be proactive? I just heard about the 0 day, and there are some things in my environment that I would like to query using the Cloud Security Explorer to understand if my environment is really susceptible to that vulnerability. So you can do those proactive hunting. And there are organizations that even have a dedicated team to do that. So we are empowering customers with the Cloud Security Explorer to do proactive hunting. So these are the main takeaways. We have one more great announcement, Safina.
Yeah, so today we are happy to announce that we are bringing this capability to our customers that are using dedicated XDR environment today. So Microsoft Defender for Cloud is integrated with M365, so you can push your alerts to M365 to have a single streamlined experience. And this is just first stage of our integration. We will see more coming up. Just wanted to give a brief overview on it, and with the interest of time, I'm going to pass it over to Yuri. We have a couple of slides to cover.
Yeah, and the private preview of Secure Copilot integration with Microsoft Defender for Cloud. This is private preview. We are starting this journey of integration with AI and using the power of AI to help security administrators to make smarter decisions. There are two key scenarios that we are coming with this private preview and using Copilot. First of all, Copilot is integrated. On this dashboard here, you have an example of where Copilot, I'm going to step over here. Copilot is right here, integrated in Defender for Cloud dashboard. So it's an embedded experience that you can ask questions about your environment. You can have a conversation with the Copilot and say, hey, what are my vulnerabilities? What about my vulnerabilities in this workload? What about this? And you keep asking follow-up questions till you narrow for what is important to you. So we are giving this power to drill down critical risks for your environment. On top of that, we are also helping security administrators to expedite remediations. How many times I heard people say, can you help me with remediations? And then we have the quick fix that helps a lot. But then there are many other scenarios that they need help with remediation. Scripts, how can I automate this remediation across my workloads? So Copilot is going to help you with that. It's going to give you example of potential remediation, even build scripts for you. How cool is that? This is really the power of AI together with the Synapse, bringing all those things to help you manage your environment and make better decisions about it. So that's a private preview. Stay tuned that we have more information about it, but these are the two scenarios that we are going to start with.
Yeah, so we want to close it off with this slide. So if you haven't used Microsoft Defender for Cloud, you know how great things are here. So make sure you sign up for free trial. And if you're already using Microsoft Defender for Cloud, make sure you explore our new functionalities and try new code to cloud capabilities that we have with Defender CSPM, where you can get many capabilities for free, like SIM integration, like DevOps, and many more. Attack pods and Cloud Security Explorer, just to name some. Also, we are at the Ask for Experts session in the security booth, so make sure you join us there. Thank you.
All right, we have, not yet. We have more here, real quick. More breakouts, more demos. And one thing that is not on this slide, this is very good information. If you want to try out some of these scenarios, go to our online labs, aka.ms/MDC labs. aka.ms/MDC labs. Our team put together all labs for you to try out. So you can, for example, provision a new Azure subscription and then try all the scenarios. If you do this within the space of 1 month, you're going to be able to do everything for free because you can get a trial for 30 days trial and do all the scenarios for free. So make sure to visit the labs. It's a great POC. So if you have a customer that want to try out and do a proof of concept, all the scenarios are documented there with step-by-step guide, okay? So make sure to visit those labs. These are the breakout sessions. P-Sport is also at Ignite, walking around, so if they stop by and ask questions to you, this is what they're doing. And with that, now, yes, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.